is my wing damaged? What the fuck? My wing is damaged.
Okay, let's go now. Come on. Perfect
this
job of
race is
returning
not-
there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Up to speed now. Let's get some
I've
heat
had
into
damage
those
from this
tyres.
whole time.
Virtual safety car. Virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta.
No, I'm done. Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back with some league racing action. And as you could also see, those were some of the highlights from the previous round at Zandvoort. Didn't go particularly well around there. We actually came dead last, and honestly, that was a very, very difficult race to kind of handle. And going to that, I was really excited actually. Going to Zandvoort, it's a track I really enjoy driving, and I just feel I just didn't remain calm. I just kind of overdrove a little bit and made some errors I shouldn't have made, and yeah, just put a little bit too much pressure on myself. I think we sometimes put a little bit too much expectation. You tend to not do things naturally, and I just think I didn't remain calm. I think that was really the biggest thing. So coming to this race at Kota, which a track I do enjoy driving, but historically in terms of pace, the qualifying and the race pace, it's actually been one of my weakest tracks. So this was a circuit I wasn't really expecting to do that well on. But coming into this after Zandvoort, I just made sure to not over practice, be prepared to get comfortable with the track, have a setup that I know I want to be using, have a good strategy in mind, because this is actually a mandatory 2-stop race. So it's one of the different formats within GSR. The biggest thing though was just to remain calm and to not overdrive, to not panic if things are going a little bit wrong, and just take a breath, take it corner by corner, not let things get to you, and just kind of get on with things. Because I know when I drive well and calm and relaxed, the pace is usually always there. So that was really the main mindset coming to this race, was just being calm. And you can see by the title of this video, I think there's some good examples here of why this is probably my best drive of the season so far, without a shadow of a doubt. And finishing this qualifying lap, it was a 30.5, which
30.5.
I was actually quite happy with. And you might have been seeing esports recently where they're doing like a 29.4 or something like that. But for me, 30.5 around here, I was actually really happy with that. This is definitely probably is my weakest track over one lap. So qualifying in P6, but it's a 2-stop race. So deciding to start on the medium tyres, and we actually get a really, really good start here. So a really good launch. Offline championship leader is, I think the way to pronounce it is Suzuka. That's what he told me, the way to pronounce it. You see the Ferrari right next to me there. He's actually championship leader. Carl still was absent from this race, so I think he will be back in a few races' time. But right now we've got to focus on the Ferrari. He's taking his seat as he is the championship leader. And you can see by the times and people in this league, it's very, very close. Some people are very, very good at particular tracks, and you can see the Ferrari actually loses it there. So championship leader making a pretty critical error on the first lap. And again, the goal here now is, I know we have the pace, and I felt confident in my pace here. Definitely focus a lot more on the race, since it's a 2-stop strategy. So less so on the qualifying, more so on the race. And I was just feeling really, really dialed in at this point. See, the car ahead of me is on the softs. Also, a couple cars behind me are on the softs as well. And I think what you're about to see here is a good example of just remaining calm. So, we're on lap 2 of the race. ERS is very difficult to recover around here, so you don't want to be using it wastefully. And going down the straight, I can see he's attacking me, and not really go fight this at all. But the thing is, the softs, they go off so quickly around here. Pretty much every tyre goes off quickly, but the softs, after probably I'd say about 3 laps, they really lose their advantage. So instead of fighting that and burning all my ERS, I just decided to let him go. And then on the next lap, his soft tyres are already pretty much cooked, and you can see how much of the ERS I managed to save behind him. So I used him to kind of tow me along. Now I'm going to overtake him and get this move done. Back into 5th place here, so make a good start of the race already. You can see the leaders are just up ahead, so I think the 3 leaders, they're all mediums as well. The issue I have now as we go on to start that 4 is that the soft run in front of me, you can see that there's a bit of a gap between him and my teammate in P3. The softs are already gone at this point. This is why they're not really a tyre you want to be using around here in the race, unless there's like a really late safety car, stuff like that. But you can see, look at the gap he is losing. So this is actually costing me a bit. So despite being calm, sometimes you need to get on it a bit. And yeah, this is really, really costing me. And we've got to get past him. So you can see, doing the ERS saving techniques, so putting to none, shifting down temporarily, that saves your ERS much, much quicker. And now here, I'm not going to be using any of the battery because he has no DRS. And the good thing is we managed to save up almost a full battery behind him. And you can see there's some cars trying to overtake him as well. So it's getting a bit chaotic going down into the straight. But this is the point now. And I think I'm going to be on board for the next 3 laps, because I think these are probably the 3 most important laps of the race. And historically, this situation right now is my weakness, because I think my strength is that I can drive 90% almost every lap, so I'm very, very consistent. But when there's cars up ahead of me who are using the DRS to slipstream each other, and I have to actually start delivering some raw pace, now I think me pushing to the 100% limit is something I definitely struggle with, hence why qualifying is always a little bit of weakness for me. In the race, if I'm in the DRS train, I feel I can manage the ERS better, I can make better decisions, overtakes, things like that. Those are my strengths, and knowing when to go for it, not to go for it. But right here now, in this no man land zone where you've got the 3 cars up ahead, they're all working together, I'm pretty low in the battery here, so I'm completely relying on my raw pace. This is something I really practiced when I was coming into this race, was just my raw pace in the race, because I think this is my weakness. This is something you've probably seen in other league races where I've gone for an overcut, come out with a big gap in front of me, and then I just don't have the pace to close in whilst they're working together. So you can see we're pretty low in the ERS here as well. This pace here was probably the best race pace I've done for a good year or so. I think this was really, really good. And again, I think this was probably the most important out of the race, because I knew if I had any chance of winning this race, I've got to get back within this DRS zone. And you can see we're managing to do that pretty well. We've got a gap to the championship leader behind, and right here I was just really, really locked in, just keeping nice and calm. But I can tell you now, I'm actually pushing to the absolute maximum. I'm pushing as hard as I possibly can. I'm not trying to conserve the ERS or anything like that. I know I'm going to have to take some risks and get back within this DRS zone. This turn 19, a really, really difficult corner. You saw it in F1 Esports past couple of days. I was managing to do that corner really well and coming across the line doing a 34.9 on lap 6 of these tyres, where the tyres are already going off. This was really, really good. You can see we're really close to the battery here, mucking up that turn 1 just a little bit. I think right here I could have used the battery, but I was just confident that I would get within that DRS zone. I'm asking my teammate to give me a bit of slipstream, but he's actually quite close to losing the DRS himself, so I don't really blame him for not backing off. And plus, I think he's actually ahead of me in the championship at this stage after Zandvoort as well, so he's got his own championships to be thinking of. And they're just right here making sure we really cut the inside of this corner. We actually missed it that time, but I was really just making sure for certain corners, there's certain checkpoints. So ideally, that corner going into the straight, this one at the end of the straight, you saw it in esports as well. You can really cut the inside of this corner. You're getting so much time. So I think you're going to see my teammate actually goes in deep here. We cut the inside, and you can see, look how much time we've actually gained on a delta. Gained about a tenth and a half doing that. And coming through here, I'm going to try and get within the DRS, so you can see really pushing the car, so the traction. This is something that, again, was a bit of a weakness of mine, where I'm in this no man land zone. What's it called? I can't even speak properly while I'm doing the commentary. Ignore that. But you know what I'm trying to say. When you're in this zone where you have no one else to help you, it's, yeah. this is something I really struggle with. And then we're back in the DRS here now. That was absolutely crucial. So those guys are working up ahead together, able to save much more ERS than me. You can see within the lap we managed to recover quite a bit of ERS, but now my teammate pits. So you saw in esports as well, it's really hard to save the battery around here. And normally I like to keep quite a high battery, but I was kind of really forced to use it, using a bit here. So coming towards the end of this up, we are definitely going to be pitting because the undercut is very powerful. Plus it is a 2-stop race as well, so they will be pitting again. Whereas if this wasn't a 2-stop race, I might have extended the stint even a little bit more. But you can see we're almost within it. We actually are within the DRS zone of K-Style up ahead of us. So this was a really good first stint. No invalidations, no real mistakes, taking our time, being nice and calm, not being frustrated. Just a complete contrast to what it was at Zandvoort, and I definitely learned a lot of lessons there. So making sure we spot the pit lane limiter nicely, which we do. And now we're going on to the hard tyres. So I wanted mediums for the end because the mediums are very fast at the end. And again, mediums are going to be good. So compared to my hards, they're going to be good for the first 4 to 5 laps, but then the hards will start to take over. So the goal was to try and limit this gap on the hards as much as possible, and then when the mediums at the end, I'm going to be absolutely rapid at the end with these mediums. So that was the plan, because again I was really confident in the race pace. I definitely put a lot of preparation into this race pace here. So again, this is a very important stint. So in P4 here, guys had to be, so K-Style was on the softs. So yeah, that was pretty ambitious. So I don't know what he's doing there. Maybe he just realised the soft stop workers. He's pitted very early. You can see the gap up ahead of us, 2.2 seconds, 5.3 to lead, and he has a 6-second penalty as well. So if we go lap by lap, I think these laps were just ultra consistent. So coming across the line, this is a 34.8. Schumacher behind me is on the soft tyre. Then the next lap, let's see what this is. So again, gap is kind of maintaining at this stage, and it's a 35.0. So being very consistent. The next lap after this, you can see the gap is starting to come down to my teammate just a little bit, and this is another 35.0, so almost within the exact same lap time again. So just being ultra consistent. Coming towards the end of lap 14, we actually start to close in on my teammate, who now pits because he wants to get a little bit of an undercut on Das Toby, and this is the point where the hards start to become the fastest tyre, so about after 4 to 5 laps. So I managed to maintain the gap, so this is really good at this stage. Das Toby does pit, so he actually pits quite early, which I presume he's going to go on to a hard tyre. So yeah, undercut shouldn't be that drastic, that bad. He will have, maybe 2 to 3 seconds or more of an undercut, but my plan is to go a couple laps longer and then really unleash these fresh medium tyres. So coming towards the end of lap 18, you can see we're gapping the cars behind us. So on the same strategy, my pace was definitely, this is the best my pace has been out of the 3 races so far, and this is a track where I thought I'd be struggling the most. But I think Zandvoort, because of the result I have, actually really motivated me to just kind of put everything together, get myself together a bit more, and to really turn it up, because that's something I'm going to need to do if I want to win this championship. You can see my teammate has come out, so a little bit of undercut. This was very important as well, so getting out just ahead of the kick here. If I was behind him, that would have cost me a lot of time. So we get out behind him, and within a couple of laps, we're already up onto my teammate. So again, that just shows how fast these medium tyres are. Das Toby has had quite a big undercut, but again, I knew he had about 6 seconds worth of penalties. So coming towards the end of the race, I was very confident that we were easily going to get within those 6 seconds. So I knew I didn't have to beat him in the race. All I needed to do was just get within the 6 seconds. I was also told in my stream that he got another 3 seconds on top of that. So he's got 9 seconds worth of penalties, which, now I know he's probably not going to get all of those removed. So the goal by the end of the race is just to try and get within 3 seconds. If I could do that, then I knew there's pretty much guaranteed that I would be winning the race. Schumacher's done a big undercut as well, but you can see he's got quite a lot of seconds. So I think everyone ahead of me right now, as I was looking at my stream, they all have tied penalties. You can see we're starting to close in on them really quickly. You can see we've already dropped my teammate by a couple of seconds, and now a safety car has come out. And in a way, I don't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, in a way, I think looking back, this is not necessarily a bad thing. I would maybe prefer it without the safety car because I wanted to try and win the race without it at all. But everyone ahead of me has quite a lot of penalties, and the safest thing to do is just mirror what they do. That was the safest thing. So I could have stayed out with these mediums, and they still would have been pretty good at the end. But then I feel like I'm just leaving myself more risk. If they pit for fresh softs, if anyone had fresh softs, then they could be kind of swarming me at the end. We could get involved in an instant. So I just thought it was best to mirror the strategy. All I need to do is stay within 3 seconds of the lead, really. Because everyone ahead of me, if I'm not mistaken, has got a time penalty of some sort. And I think the 2 cars ahead of me, they've got much older tyres as well. So yeah, they didn't actually pit. So my main threat is the car behind, Suzuka, the way I pronounce it and he pronounces it. He is the championship leader. He is the guy we're fighting for the race win, and we need to stay ahead of. So I saw this opportunity to go down the inside of K-Style and go into turn 1. He gives me plenty of room here, not fighting this too hard. We get this move done, and I think the Ferrari is going to follow me through as well. And again, I knew it was the car behind that was fighting for the win. So I'm not actually that interested in overtaking the cars up ahead of me as another safety car now comes out now. And I don't think it's worth pitting. We've just pitted for these tyres. So I'm going to stay out no matter what. I think the tyres are still going to be good towards the end of the race. And really, this is kind of a 2-lap shoot down as we get caught a bit napping on the safety car restart. So it should have been much closer here. At this point, we don't have a warning or anything at all. But again, I wasn't sure if the Ferrari had fresh softs or used softs behind me. So, but the goal again is to make sure we do not let him pass, because I believe this is going to be for the race win, because everyone ahead of me has a time penalty. So what we got to do is just keep nice and calm. So again, I wasn't really interested in overtaking the cars here. All I was interested in is keeping the Ferrari behind. So you can see again how quickly the battery, you lose the battery around here. So I was going to try and keep as much as possible for the last lap. As you saw there for the esports yesterday, Thomas Runhar, he was trying to keep a lot for the last lap as well. So yeah, just in case this Ferrari did have the fresh softs, he'd probably have a decent pace advantage over me right now. And you can see the car behind him has a penalty as well. So I'm just trying to keep as much battery as possible for this last lap, specifically for the main middle straight. And you can see coming into start the lap, or the last lap, we are pretty close to 80% battery, so pretty good battery right now. Key is just to get some really good exits off all these corners as much as possible. And come off this last corner, not an incredible exit. It's pretty close, but the wings I'm using here were pretty low wings. If you click the join button and join my YouTube member Discord, you will have access to this setup. I've actually already uploaded it. That's my first warning of the race. I know with all my league races set up, so I always upload them after the race if I feel they are worth updating. So if you like access to those, make sure you click the join button, join my Discord. But on this last lap, yeah, the goal right here now is I know I've got much faster tyres than the 2 cars ahead of me, because they didn't actually pit under the safety car. They just stay out on the mediums. So we've actually done 3 stops this race instead of the 2 stops. And right here now, it's all about just getting a really good exit from this corner. So getting a really good exit, we have a lot of the battery, and we've got the DRS in front, and we've got the straight line speed as well. And you can see the Ferrari isn't really making any inroads on us, so we're not going to use all the battery, just save a little bit for this last sector. But the problem is, these cars are kind of fighting up ahead of us. It's kind of backing me up into the Ferrari, so we just don't want to be caught out here. This is probably the last overtaking zone there actually is, so we go semi-defensive, so into the middle of the track, given no option to go. But that actually gives me a pretty poor exit. You can see he's actually quite close here, so using the battery once again, using the slipstream from the car up ahead, and going to this turn 19, I actually do this really badly, so we miss it by an absolute mile. That gives the Ferrari run. So again, just going into the middle of the track, but there's no real overtake opportunity there. And coming across the line, we're going to go home and take the win. I can confirm that was the actual win of the race. No one's penalty in front actually got removed. So that is a bit of a redemption after Zandvoort. And I think that's what you need to do, even when you don't feel confident. Just get comfortable with the car, get comfortable with the track. And I think for me, the key thing is just to be calm, just make smart, sensible decisions, and these are the results that can come your way. So I really hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully you learned something from that as well, because I definitely did from Zandvoort in the previous race. We have Singapore this weekend. That is at 7 p.m. UK time on Sunday. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and I will catch you very, very soon. Peace.